AWS On Air, and today we are doing part of our Spotlight series as part of Amazon Remars. So we've got the amazing folks here at Mantium. My name is Jillian Ford, and I'm a startup solutions architect, and my host is...
I'm A.M. Graveli. I'm a solutions architect here at AWS and longtime host here on AWS On Air. Excited to be with you folks from Mantium. You want to tell us about yourselves too?
Yeah, I'm Jason Montgomery, co-founder, CTO of Mantium.
I'm Todd Fox. I'm VP of Engineering at Mantium.
So tell us, what is Mantium?
It's a great question.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
I was going to ask that too.
Oh, OK.
So Mantium, like in the last startup, Ryan, co-founder, and I started, we really wanted to make AI accessible. There was a lot of tools you needed to know, a lot of technologies, a lot of pipelines you needed in place. And so we built our first company, Nexosis, which was an automated ML platform for developers. Well, that's just not really quite broad enough. I think we were in Mantium, and this time around, it's like, how do we really get just regular, business analysts, regular people using AI, as well as developers too. We want to be API first, but it's also like, how do we make it practical for pretty much anyone to use and prototype, prove out, and then improve and deploy quickly without a lot of extra work.
Yeah, so Mantium, we're really an AI application company.
Yeah.
And we're a no-code solution for AI. So at the last company, we built this ML ops pipeline that made it easier for companies to build ML pipelines, and now we're trying to make AI accessible to everyone through our application.
Yeah.
I love that. I mean, I just see so many startups that I work with, I know, who really want to adopt AI, and they just don't have the resources.
Sure.
Maybe they don't have enough time. So tools like yours is something that a lot of people really want.
Yeah.
Yeah, personally, I'm not an ML engineer, right? I've got a deeper background in DevOps, app dev, building out web servers, that type of workflow. So when AI and ML kind of, started coming up as more and more popular and more relevant, right? And achievable even. Like for a long time, it wasn't, even achievable to look at this type unless you had massive amounts of data and massive amounts of compute to work with that data. But now, as I hear more and learn more, there does seem to be this establishing workflows that I see. I talked earlier with a group about Kubeflow, right?
Oh, yeah,
and so there's all of these different types of methodologies for approaching ops. I love to hear that you all are just making that so simple. How do you approach that? What are the challenges you see ML engineers facing? And what are you helping them get through?
Yeah, historically you needed a ton of data, like you said. You want to do some machine learning, and that was our challenge at our previous company too, was trying to get a customer on board. Well, get all your data together. They're like, well, what data? Well, you got to get the features, feature engineering, train, test, splits, hyperparameter tuning, all that stuff. It's really challenging. So we kind of tried to automate that then, but then really trying to make it way more end-to-end, so sort of more like no-code, drag and drop workflows, easily try and prototype your AI very quickly, and then integrate it with a lot of other systems just through normal API keys and integrations that are kind of built into our platform already. I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
Yeah, sure. And actually, we're about to launch a beta, so you can go to beta.mantiumai.com and sign up. We're about to launch a new AI builder, which is effectively a series of blocks. You have your AI, you have integrations to things like AWS Dract, Transcribe, Alexa, other platforms like Zendesk, Twilio, and you can basically, and it's a no-code solution where you can stitch together an AI workflow, build it right in our sort of workflow builder, and something that would take a company, as you said, with ML ops engineering and data science and data prep, might take them 60 to 90 days to launch. If they had that talent and that team, they can do that in a matter of hours or days on this platform.
Wow.
So we're really trying to democratize AI and make it accessible to anyone.
I love that. That's a great mission.
Yeah, with the large language models, that's the other really important piece now. So once we started, we saw GPT-3, and now there's GPT-J, and you've got T5, and a lot of these other large language models like Megatron coming out, and it's like suddenly you don't need all your data perfect, ready to go. You can prototype because they're already trained on all these parameters. So out of the box, you get some sort of functionality. In some cases, it works well. Other cases, needs a little help, but you can still prove it out. And then you can fine-tune them through the platform and refine them based on data that's coming in and it kind of, you can have sort of almost a continuous learning loop in that platform also. Logging, monitoring, production sort of quality,
That's awesome.
pipelines all baked in.
Yeah, I mean, just curious, like if you could tell us more about really the NLP industry and maybe some of the blind spots that you guys recognized.
Yeah, some of it, I think when we showed up, it was like, these things are really cool. I saw a ton of demos that did really amazing things. And when you try to actually go use it, you find like, there's a really happy path, and then there's all these thorny bits where like the model's hallucinating or making up facts that don't exist. And like, you're like, well, how do we control that? So you need that human in the loop aspect. You need ways to fine tune and teach it how not to return certain types of data, or just say it doesn't know sometimes as opposed to making stuff up. And so I think a lot of that stuff looks really powerful, but once you really try to make a production app with it, there's some thorny bits you still have to solve. And so we're trying to pre-train and fine-tune models, create templates that you can just say, this will do support case classification in Zendesk for you. We've already fine-tuned it. Just use this model in this particular maybe space that your company's in. If it's like e-commerce support tickets, like this is a shipping,
I think
and
a
it
lot
routes it and stuff like that.
a lot of companies new to ML2, maybe they have the data, maybe they don't. I think ultimately most are though searching for, what can I actually do with this thing, right? Like what problems can I solve?
Right.
And so you all are working very closely with these companies. What do you see as those problems that are solvable by ML?
Yeah, I don't know. Do you have
Yeah,
thoughts
like
there, Tom?
I mean, a good example of this is we're talking to teams of accountants and financial folks within a business that are trying to do things simple tasks like matching POs to invoices. It's an expensive task. It's hard to find people. Human talent turns over a lot right now, unfortunately. You can train AI to do those jobs. And you can scale that. We build everything on AWS. We're leveraging SageMaker, and we can take a task that might take them, multiple weeks or hundreds of man hours. We can knock that out very quickly with AI. So, these large language models do a very effective job of kind of performing those human interactions.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh wow, I love that. I mean, I hear that there's a demo that maybe you both have that you could potentially
No demo on this
show us?
one, I don't think.
Damn.
But that's okay. I did want to maybe talk more about the actual kind of use cases, right? Like you mentioned PO invoicing.
Yeah.
And I think it sounds to me, at least from the Mantium side, is that sometimes it's a struggle to get from I'm implementing this workflow, and it's taken me 90 days, 6 months to get to value with this workflow. But no, with Mantium, actually, I'm going to see value much quicker. So what are some of the if you had a perfect customer out there that you wanted to say, like, this is the workflow that we could help you solve, what do you think that might be?
I think one big one we've been working on is Dract. A lot of people want to use Dract, but it's, there's a high bar if you're not, into, cloud engineering development and real familiar with that space. So being able to sort of just integrate that right in real quickly into a pipeline through either an API call or through some sort of, file upload to an S3 bucket that triggers, Event Bridge to do some things downstream, all sort of automatically. Parse out what you need in the document and then perform like a QA or summary, or so you can actually ask about the POs. It actually can collect all that data and sort of have it readily at your fingertips.
Yeah, a lot of companies working with a lot of text-based data, right? Like so, and you also said earlier, right? We were talking. I think you brought this up, Jillian. The NLP, right? That's your focus area currently. Is there any reason why you chose NLP when you were founding the company?
Yeah, I think both companies, we were trying to solve a different problem, and we didn't really get traction on that company idea. It was all the things we had to build to solve the problem that we wanted to do for the other company. And so the investors really liked, well, to do this really hard thing here, you have to build this ML or AI pipeline solution fast and quick. And so when you start talking about that, they get really like, that actually seems like, and we kind of started realizing that while we may want to focus on this niche thing, this is a way broader and more powerful thing to provide to people to make AI accessible.
Yeah. One thing that's really exciting about being in conferences like this is that people get to really see the future, but then also get to apply things right away.
Yeah.
So what do you think the future of NLP really holds?
Yeah, I don't know if you have any thoughts, but
Well, yeah, I mean, another use case, and it's future, but it's also sort of now, is that there are a lot of call centers.
Yeah.
They have a lot of audio data, right? That data can be transcribed to text, using AWS Transcribe, and then we can tune models against that data to help either supplement the human support aspect of that customer service or automate it with AI. And so, we're already seeing a lot of this, right, in the industry. You don't necessarily call a person every time you need help or support. AI can perform a lot of those tasks very efficiently and very effectively, and a lot of folks prefer to interact with, systems and not people.
Not people.
I am one of those.
yeah.
I actively avoid having to call another human being because it fills me with deep-seated anxiety. So that's me. But yeah.
I feel that. I feel that.
I think, too, you mentioned to me earlier before we went live that you all are obviously built on AWS, but there are a few services that you were tagging with me that are important to you all, too, that maybe you wanted to talk about.
Oh, cool.
What are some of the things that AWS has offered you that has helped you
Yeah,
build
we've
your
done
company?
a lot of work with the SageMaker team as well to sort of, putting a large language model. We just did a blog post actually in partnership with AWS.
Oh, nice.
On sort of GPTJ on SageMaker.
Nice.
We put T5 and T0++ on there, and we've done smaller large language models than those. And there's challenges there because it's all new technology. You need a lot of memory, you need GPUs. And so really sort of collaborating on getting those solutions out there and deployable in SageMaker has been pretty cool. And that's a big one we've been using, as well as working on Dract, Transcribe. I think we've looked at wanting to integrate with Alexa,
Sure.
down the line as well.
Very nice.
So I don't know if
I mean, Jason and I we've built solutions in AWS for a decade plus now, so we're pretty,
Very cool.
DevOps, DevSecOps,
Yeah.
app dev on AWS is something that we've done for years. So we leverage all the platform features we can underneath the hood, obviously, as well.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, all of the AWS integrations are at the top of our list on our roadmap. So that's where we started, actually. Dract, Transcribe, Comprehend
Comprehend was the
Medical.
other one.
Yeah,
Talking
yeah.
to healthcare companies.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's our roadmap has AWS all over it.
Well, I do love to hear that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And a pile of other third-party, super powerful.
Yeah.
Like we talked about,
Yeah.
Zendesk, Discord, Slack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Twilio, those sorts of things as well, and,
Yeah.
and LinkedIn, many others. Like if it's got an API, we want to be able to hook up to it, either through just webhooks or like a first-class sort of API. You just drop a key in and they
Right.
plug together.
Seems very, I hesitate to even call it out, but I will. Like very easy to make that inference of we're going to go to where the blocks of text are, right?
Yeah,
Like we're going to go to
that's
all of
right.
these applications where people are communicating with one another in blocks of text,
Right.
and extract value out of those blocks of text, right?
Sure.
Yeah, bingo.
Okay. Very, like I said, very simple,
You
but
got it, yeah.
sometimes my brain, that's how it works. So, great. I think too, we wanted to talk about. I don't know if you've mentioned this yet, but transformer models are something that you were also talking with us prior to.
Yes.
Number one, I'm going to admit this on air. I don't know what that is, which is okay, I think. But can you help me understand,
Yeah.
number one, what it is and how Mantium makes it easier to work with these
Yeah,
things?
so when we talk about large language models, those are all based on and built on transformer models.
Got it.
So it is sort of for these NLP tasks, and they're developing other techniques we've seen at other conferences that can solve sort of other traditional models, and they're sort of unsupervised learning, deep neural nets, billions of weights captured within that really can kind of amazingly, understand human language and spit back sort of intelligible things about it.
Telling me I can't just drop a code break somewhere in there and go look at it. Too many lines of code, right?
Yeah.
So
I don't
they really take advantage of pre-training.
Yeah.
So these models, they're like really powerful representations of language, really.
Okay.
And so you can think of something like search.
Yeah.
And how we interact with search now. And in the future, this is a future sort of looking thing, but we will interact with search much differently thanks to AI and these sort of transformer models.
Yeah.
Because you can interact with large volumes of data like with natural language, not just search terms.
Very nice.
Yeah, so this is already happening in search, but we think that this is an area where all businesses and organizations are probably going to leverage AI to make that more efficient.
Now, when I go to work with one of these transformer models, and go to deploy one, what's going to be my challenge, and what's Mantium going to do to help? Does that tie back to AI Builder in any way? Also?
It does, yeah. So right now, if you want to get up and running quickly with a quick prototype, you might use OpenAI integration. You might use Eleuther AI, Cohere. Those are kind of the big ones right now we're seeing. And then in those cases, you're basically using a third-party API. Well, we run into a lot of customers who are like, we don't really want to send our data through a third-party API. We want to kind of keep that hosted. So you can prototype on, say, one of these providers, but what we're trying to do to provide more value and own your models and IP, because you can't own GPT-3, you can't own these other models. But the open source community, and there's a ton of models on Hugging Face as well that we've integrated with. So you can effectively pull those in, and then the goal is to deploy them in our cloud or in your own VPC from our system as well. So you own your tech, it's not leaving your VPC, it's in your cloud environment. So it kind of solves those security and compliance issues as well.
Yeah. I love that, because I feel like such a big myth with a lot of people who want to use these higher level AI services or tools is they think that, oh, I lose control, or because it's like a black box. I don't really actually know what's going on. But it sounds like you've really thought through some of those hurdles that people initially think about.
Yeah, we're focusing a lot on providing what they're called model cards, transparency, what models are good at, what they're not so good at, and providing sort of, when you choose a model, kind of showing those rough spots. And it's funny because people are like, well, you have to prove it beyond a shadow of a doubt the AI is good. And it's like, well, we don't know, how do we know this human does that?
Yeah.
Right.
So at a certain point, we're going to have to sort of test the boundaries of it and trust it, because at a certain size and level, you can't really prove it without a shadow of a doubt and know exactly how it works.
I think one of the things that's cool about this is these pre-trained transformer models, they can be trained on really any NLP task.
Yeah.
And so what we're trying to do is, again, make this accessible to people. And so in AI Builder, a critical part of this is we have templates. So they're sort of pre-built templates, workflows that we know solve certain problems. All the integrations we just mentioned, Zendesk, Dract, et cetera, et cetera. Someone can come to Mantium, use a template, and fire up one of these workflows without an NLP team, without an ML ops team, and operationalize them and productionize them quickly.
Got about 30 seconds left. What's up next for AI Builder, and where should I go to sign up?
Again, beta.mantiumai.com. Anyone can sign up. We're going to launch that soon. So obviously that's a great place to start. We have lightning talks happening here at Remars.
Yep.
So there's, if you're here and you're watching the stream, stop by today where we have another lightning talk.
Yeah, we'll do a demo there. Yeah,
do a demo there.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
That's
Take us away,
exciting.
Julian.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, thank you guys so much for being
Thank you.
here.
Thanks for having
And
us.
you should stick around. We've got plenty more sessions. The next one coming up is about route optimization, so you're definitely going to want to stay tuned.
That's right.